Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Did you know you can support the channel by joining? Something to think about. Now onto the stories. Case file number 934, written by That's For Me 32, John, the Multiversal Bandit. I was working late one evening at the office. I was the only one left in the building. I work on the 3rd floor and needed to grab something from the 4th floor archive room. I walked up the stairs. I may or may not be deathly afraid of elevators, and as I reached the 4th floor, I saw one of my colleagues, I'll call him John, not his real name, coming out of the archive room. I greeted him and asked him how he was doing. I didn't know he was also going to work late tonight. He said he's fine, burning that midnight oil for a company that doesn't care for him. He's the honest type, without much filter, but he does clean work. He carries on. I go into the archive room and pick up a paper receipt. We still keep those as backup, that I needed for a client. Went back downstairs, passing by John's desk on the way back to mine. Said hi again and asked what it was he had needed from the archive room. He acted like I was touched in the head and said, "Is this for a reaction video? Why are you goofing around? I still have a lot of work to do, can't be bothered with this right now." I was taken aback. John isn't the rude type, he's just really honest. Normally a simple question like that he'd just answer. I said, "Sorry to bother you, John. I was just curious on what you wanted to get is all." John responds, "Well, if you're not kidding, you need to see a shrink because I've been at my desk for the past 5 hours, haven't even gone to the bathroom. Come to think of it, I probably should go pee." John's not the kidding type either. His words were absolute confirmation to me that whatever I had seen was not human, or at least it was something not meant for my eyes to see. Whatever I had spoken to, wait, were we robbed by a lookalike? I don't think anything went missing from the archive room. I never reported this to security because I have enough stress on my plate to deal with and don't need accusations of cuckoo bird thrown on top. I just know there's been no extra security or notice or anything like that since that night. Case notes for file 934, John, the Multiversal Bandit. And here, ladies and gentlemen, we have Ocean's 15. Sadly, George Clooney decided not to reprise his role, so a new character has to be created, and thankfully, Brad Pitt has agreed to play the part of John. In all seriousness, the vibe I get from this is that John is kind of fed up working in that corporation, and there might be some corporate espionage going on. Given your line of questioning, I'm assuming it wasn't really normal for John to go into the archive room, so whatever he got there probably was related to something he wasn't supposed to have. I don't think he physically stole anything, like any documents or receipts, rather taking pictures instead, trying to give a picture to competitors and how the corporation is doing financially. Even though there's camera footage, you don't have access to it, but the higher-ups would. If you didn't report it though, they may not actually know anything's wrong. If he's a very trusted person with a high access level, maybe it's not on the radar. I think eventually it will be. The question though is, you passed by his desk. So was he just completely lying about the whole thing and he did see you and he's just making up something to make you think that you're going crazy? Or were you seeing into another universe when you saw him stealing, or maybe stealing? When you passed him, he was actually at his desk, you just didn't see him because you were seeing into a different universe. That's a pretty cool thought. You were witnessing a crime, but not in this universe. That would be difficult to report. Case file number 935, written by Signoflibertas, the furry trio of danger. I was out for a walk. It was late, almost midnight. I love late night walks. Seeing the stars and the moon, the crisp air, it's perfect. Town I live in is safe. So as I'm walking down the sidewalk, midtown, but keep in mind this is a small town. There's no alleyways or anything like that. Small shops and small little roads. I come up to a 4-way intersection that's just stop signs, and on my left side, there's a shop's wall near the curb. I see a black cat with white specks on him walk by in front of me. I'm thinking of a silly superstition. Oh no, black cat passes in front of me. Bad luck, right? But maybe it doesn't count because of the white specks. Phew. So a couple seconds after this, I see this cat. Another one that looks identical emerges from behind the corner. I wasn't very far away from the edge of the building, so I could make out the detail on the cat's fur. It looked the same as the first one. Then another cat emerges, the same pattern again. They all look like they were cloned, same shape, weight, appearance. They meandered down the street, which thankfully no cars were driving on tonight, then disappeared down the road further to my right. I didn't go after them. I was lost in my mind. I've seen stray cats before, of course. Who hasn't? But 3 that look exactly the same, move the same way, following each other? I don't know. Maybe this is an extreme coincidence and not a glitch, but it felt wrong. Didn't stay out on my walk for much longer after this. The walks I take at night are always in a loop to get back home. I decided to jog home just to be safe that night. This happened a while ago. I haven't seen those cats again. Case notes are file 935, the furry trio of danger. Hey, so I wonder if anything weird happened after seeing these cats. So in the Matrix movies, of course, it's the classic glitch, where Neo sees the black cat walk up the stairs and then sees it again exactly the same way, same cat, same movement. However, he didn't see 2 cats at the same time, just a repeat of the, a déjà vu event. Did they just randomly make that up, or were the Wachowski brothers onto something? Did they have an idea that, if there's some sort of change in the universe, in the simulation, does that mean that there's a sign somewhere that something was altered? Like now, if you try to change computer code in any way, you change one program and 100 other things go wrong because it's all interconnected. So it's hard to make isolated changes. I have no idea how the simulation works or is programmed in the real world, if indeed we do live in a simulation. I wonder, do you guys believe we live in a simulation? Are you as convinced as I am? And if so, what do you think the real world is like? Do you think we're all in a pod being harvested by computers for our intelligence? And actually, that was the premise of the Matrix movies, not as batteries, which makes no sense. It would take more energy to grow the food and to sustain us than that we provide. The original concept was to use our mental capacity to fuel advanced computer, I guess, which makes some sense, versus batteries. But they thought that the audience wouldn't understand that. They would lose people, so they just went with batteries, which everyone understands. This was the late 90s. Not many people had the idea of what computers were, so I understand why they thought it would lose people. But what do you think the real world is like? I hope it's impossible to get fat and you can just eat all the time. So basically heaven. Yeah. Case file number 936, written by 1000 Ways to Live. 10 minutes to 3 hours back. I was driving home from work. It takes about 10 minutes. I've made this trip innumerable times. I could do it blindfolded while sleepwalking with one hand glued inside my mouth, just to hone the point home. I was listening to music and thinking about dinner plans. It was my turn to cook tonight. Sushi, perhaps? Maybe not. I'm starving and it takes forever for the rice to cook and then cool down. As I was thinking this thought, I found myself pulling into my driveway. I parked my car and got out, still on brain autopilot. I walked into my house and shouted, "Honey, I'm home!" A funny trope I like reversing because I'm the chick who brings home the bacon and my man takes care of the family. It works for us. My husband rushed to the door before I even sat my purse down, exclaiming, "Where were you?" I told him I had just driven home from work like I usually do. But he looked at me with a mixture of confusion, terror, and a little sprinkle of anger, then said, "Babe, you've been gone for over 3 hours. I texted you so many times I was about to call the cops." I didn't remember anything out of the ordinary happening during my drive. I hadn't been stuck in traffic, hadn't taken any detours, and I hadn't stopped for anything. As far as I was concerned, I had just been driving for the usual 10 minutes. Hell, if anything, it felt like a slightly faster trip home than usual. I checked my phone and it was indeed 3 hours later than when I had left work. It's past 7 now. I didn't have any messages or calls on my phone. You know the truly most disturbing, mind-ducking part of this? I just got out of my car and walked inside. My eyes still worked, but the memory I have of literally a minute ago was of a normal winter horizon at a bit past 4 p.m. Still plenty bright out. When I look out, it's pitch black. Was I possessed or something? I had nothing I could say to my husband to reassure him because I don't know what happened at all. I hope I can convince him because I don't want him to think I'm cheating. What the hell? Case notes are file 936. 10 minutes to 3 hours back. So damn, the time loss itself is glitchy. But then tack on the fact that you remember walking out of your car. It was normal light out on a winter day. Obviously it's setting early, but at 4-ish, somewhere into 4, there's still some light. Plenty enough to notice there's still, a blue sky and everything. The sun is probably around setting at that point, close to. But then you look behind you after your husband tells you you've been gone for 3 hours and it's pitch black. Well, either your mind invented that memory, or you were abducted in your own driveway by aliens, presumably. It could be a time anomaly, space-time warping anomaly, but usually those happen while driving. You're moving through more space, so the odds greatly increase. If it was right in your driveway, unless the anomaly also moves, it would happen frequently, not just this one-off event. My guess would be aliens, which is kind of cool. I actually saw a Twitter video. I don't know if it's real, of course. With the deep fakes these days, you can't really know for sure. But it looked pretty convincing. It seemed like Ring camera footage of someone's driveway, and the man walked out, went to the left of the camera, and was abducted, sort of like off-screen. There was a tiny sliver of him that you could still see, and he just zapped away. And I don't know what happened. There was no follow-up to this. I guess the concept makes sense somehow, to abduct people just as they're leaving their home. So yeah, you drove home normally, got out of your car, and in that exact moment, you were abducted, and then brought back. There's a seamless transition in that, where the aliens have something to do with it to suppress the memory. Then you just walk in and you don't realize, it's already dark. You were gone for 3 hours. It's wild. I hope your husband does believe you or something, because it's unfair for you to be accused or thought of as cheating just because of this crazy event. I think this all fits pretty well, especially if your home is more remote. Et bon, la fin du vidéo. Wait, I'm speaking French? Why was I speaking French? I don't know. It's a glitch in the Matrix. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell, yada yada yada, all that good stuff. See you tomorrow.